G'day guys, Duckville here for game number 3 between Dream Team Gaming and NS Hosio. We've had dtGSickness doing a great job so far. He's taken out Tassadar in game number 1. Tassadar a finalist for the GSL Code A, and also of course been doing really well in GSTL as well. He's going to be fighting against a newer player this time. It is our NS Hosio Zerg, who's up here in the red. It is Realmaker, who is a player who I couldn't really find too much information about. He's definitely one of the newer players from what I understand. Also goes by the name Dream Zenith. Some of you guys may know Dream Zenith. As we can see here, that's his in-game name, but we'll find out what happens in this particular match. Of course, we are on Tal'Darim Altar. Sickness down the bottom right here. A great map for PvZ, of course. You can see games that go for quite a while, of course, because both races love to do a fast expand on this map. For Protoss, it's a pretty much big requirement, of course, because Zergs can take a quick natural expansion. They can move up and take this one as a third, and then possibly even that one as a third instead, or a quick extra base after the game has been established in the mid-game. But yeah, you can really form some really awesome games. Mutas are a big factor because we got these big cliffs around the side of the naturals there, that sort of dead space where the mutas can fly around and generally not be hit unless there are some Phoenix out. And then of course there is a little bit of that behind some of the main expansion as well. So we'll see if Realmaker is going to bring out the mutas to this particular party today. What he's actually started with is a quick hatchery there, just to make sure, a quick spawning pool, just to make sure he can get some easy map presence. Of course, this map can be subject to some various cannon rushes. You can see a pylon wall off across here from time to time, although that is not as common anymore. I believe Blizzard changed the map so that you can't actually do that as easily now. There's something to do with the placement area was blocked or something like that, so you can't actually do it completely anymore. Either way, one thing you can also do is chuck a pylon down at the bottom of the cliff and then put a random cannon sort of up here or in this sort of position, which can also really distract the Zerg from getting that natural expansion. Now, it looks as if Realmaker is not going to take his gas just yet, making sure that a couple of links get out. He's getting a queen as well, and that hatchery down at the natural, so he is going to be really kicking in that economy for the moment. Now he's taken the extractor just up the top. I believe that was actually after Sickness left the base, so he may not have seen that. Yeah, he did not see that the hatchery went up, but that is all a-okay. That doesn't really change too much when you're doing a sort of standard play as a Protoss on this map. He's got the Nexus up, it's almost complete. Forge is done, a cannon and a gateway are also going up here as well. So just to make sure that he is prepared for anything, putting down a pylon just to make sure that these links can't slip by, as the cannon is not ready just as of yet. The pylon there becomes a main target for the Lings, and they do get a little bit of shield damage there, but not really too much to worry about. Sickness, meanwhile, will finish off the main part of the wall. It's not going to be a solid wall because there is a little space here for a Zealot to get through. In fact, he's going to chrono out a Zealot just to make sure that he can fill that hole, and the Cyber will go up and we'll be moving towards a standard sort of game. So it'll be the main factor sort of determining how Sickness will play. This will be the gas, especially the third and the fourth. Of course, if you really want to get some of those higher tech units out, you want to take this third and the fourth as quickly as possible. We just saw Realmaker just poking into the natural there to see how many probes were around and whether that gas had been taken. Now, Sickness putting up an extra couple of cannons here. Now, what is he reacting to here? I would believe it's probably the fact that we got that extra gate, and of course there are two cannons now along with that extra pylon. I think he's just being extra safe. It's obviously better to be safe than sorry, as they say. You can of course see players such as, or commentators I suppose now, such as Artosis, who love to play safe and always advocate being really safe with things. In fact, looks as if Sickness may have inadvertently spotted a quick rush here from Realmaker. He's got these Lings out, they don't have speed, an extra 10 Lings are now popping out. Speed just starting, is no way going to be in completion by the time he gets across. Some Roaches also coming along with this attack. Warp Gate is not going to finish, I don't believe, by the time the roaches get across, but will they be able to get range on the cyber without getting harassed by the cannons here? There are 2 cannons out, a couple more now warping in as well. Looks as if Realmaker is trying to bust through this cannon on the left. It is in close proximity to the edge there. He is going to be able to take down at least this extra pylon here. There is the backup at the side as well, of course, which is going to really help out with that. More cannons being put down as well. In fact, no, those are pylons here for Sickness, so he's not worrying about any extra cannons. Just at the moment, it looks as if the cyber, while in range of these roaches here, the roaches have to be sort of a little bit too close for comfort there, but it looks as if Realmaker has found the sweet spot. 2 of these roaches able to get shots on the cybernetic core. In fact, the rest of them as well. I don't know what's going on with this cannon. It's not happy with its job, so it's decided to not shoot at all. But 3 stalkers now done. We'll be able to clean up the rest of these roaches, but looks as if we have a really big link opponent now trying to sweep through. We'll see if Realmaker is actually going to just try and push through straight away. Speed is about to complete. These 3 stalkers are about to get what's coming to them, being sandwiched by the Lings here, and it looks as if, in fact, nope, there it is. Speed finally kicking in. These stalkers will go down. There is no way they are going to be escaping, and Realmaker will get a slight condolence there, finishing off the rest of those stalkers, but he's not going to be able to get back inside. Looks as if he's going to try and get through anyway. This pylon is going to go up a couple more for defense as well. Extra cannon and pylons all going up here for Sickness. He did complete Warp Gate just in time, so he should be okay, cancelling off those pylons, and will be alright to sit back and just sort of macro up for the moment. Just speaking of which, looking at the macro, we've got Realmaker currently sitting on 17 drones to the 41 probes of Sickness. Sickness in a massive lead right now. Looks as if Realmaker is trying to get out as many drones as he can, just bringing in a whole bunch of them to try and get himself back in a decent position here. But Sickness is now stabilized. We've got a lot of probes at work in the mining fields of his main and the natural. We've got 2 gas going as well, so he's going to be in a massive lead. And there is probably no way that Realmaker is going to be able to come back from this. Once the higher tech starts kicking in from Sickness, he's going to be able to push, perhaps even just whack down a couple more gates, and he could even just push with a basic gateway force, because everything from Realmaker is going to be quite far behind. He's trying to, as we said, bring back the drones now. We've got 8 on the way. That will bring him slowly closer to where Sickness is, but it's currently sitting at 48 to 32 drones there. We just had a little bit of a change in how many drones there were. He's put down a couple of spine crawlers, that's why. Going to try and get some defenses up and see if he can actually hold up against this imminent Protoss attack, taking the 3rd and the 4th gas as well at the natural here. Sickness getting prepared for an attack. He's probably going to look to poke out with probably a decent sized gateway force. I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't sent a probe out to try and put a pylon down. In fact, there it is. So he is going to try and get that proxy pylon down. Realmaker spotting that with the Overlord at the top of the base there, and he is in fact going to squeeze through. These Lings covered in butter are able to actually get through the defenses there, and a few of them will get inside. A couple of Zealots are prepared by Sickness here, so he is not going to be too phased by this little run by from Realmaker, and the Lings will try and survive as long as they can, maybe able to get a couple of probe kills there, but Sickness now pushing up. He's got Stalkers at the front, may want to pull them back for just a bit until the Zealots can get there and tank. He does have a proxy pylon here as well, so he should be able to warp in some more units very, very soon. Sickness just trying to deal with these leftover Lings. One Stalker comes in and should be able to help out with the rest of that, but the attack commences at the front door. It looks as if like Realmaker was not prepared at all. Despite putting down 6 spine crawlers, he is still able to fend off the attack. I think the Lings inside the main have distracted Sickness for just a tiny bit. He's has not been able to fully reinforce as much as he would like to. As we can see, these extra gateway forces now trying to come back into the mix. We've got a lot of Stalkers here now as well. So if Realmaker can perhaps get a bunch of Lings out, he may be able to get some defense and hold this back. But I'll be really surprised to see if he can't do this. But it looks as if Sickness being very careful at the moment, just pulling back with his forces. A probe going down to those Zerglings that were just running around trying to keep their map control. But more forces now warping in for Sickness here. He does not have any upgrades on the way, just making sure he's saving his resources for more warp-ins, and he is getting a robotics facility, and we just saw the Twilight Council completing. So Sickness looks to be just trying to keep map control at the moment. He doesn't want to let Realmaker have too much presence on the map. Of course, if he can see that the attacks are coming, he could deny them quite easily. Of course, we saw that a lot of Spine Crawlers went down when he knew that that attack was coming. The Proxy Pylon, however, will go down. Luckily, there was a backup over here for Sickness, much closer, and if he can keep that one up, he should be in a really good position to deny the Zerg from expanding at all. As we can see, it looks as if Realmaker did clear out the rocks here at the third base, so he's preparing for that third. There is no way he can take it just at the moment, but he has got a lot of roaches, so he is starting to beef up that military presence on the map. Perhaps going to try and get some run-bys going again, but there's no way he's going to be able to bust through here. Sickness, meanwhile, just beefing up. It looks as if he's going to try and get a robotics facility going with the warp gate, the warp prism, sorry, that's about to pop out. Burrow is now completing as well for those roaches, so this is actually going to put Realmaker in a really nice position here. If he can use some micro and keep those roaches alive, he should be in a good position. So force field's now going up. We've got an attack. It looks as if the Zealots are sort of stuck inside the Stalker Ball. They're just going to dance around aimlessly, and there they go. The pylon is being cancelled, so this attack may have to be cancelled from Sickness. I don't think he has any way to bust through this. The Spine Crawler is doing a serious amount of damage there, and with the roaches as well to back up and tank a lot of the damage, they should be able to just hold up for now. But Realmaker, sensing impending doom, is getting prepared. He has found that there is a Warp Prism out. The Warp Prism, a really great unit to keep in a big gateway force like this. Of course, it allows you to keep warp ins coming and get some high ground vision as well if need be. He can also keep that safe from the Lings, because the Lings cannot jump up in the air, which is a little bit unfortunate for them. But here we go. It looks as if he's going to try and get through yet again. The Stalkers now have Blink. They've got +1. All of the Zealots now at the front, able to tank some of the damage and do some of the damage as well. Sickness should be able to come through here, and he is starting to push through. The Roach is trying to burrow to keep their health up. The Spine Crawler is doing quite a lot of damage. There are so many Stalkers here, though, for Sickness. He's blinking them back, keeping them alive. Beautiful stuff there, singling them out and pulling them back. Looks as if he will be able to bust through the first line of defense here. The 6 Spine Crawlers have finally gone down. Their poking days are over, but Infestor's now out. They do have fungal growth because pathogen glands did complete. Fungal going down on some of these Stalkers, and he will be able to blink some of them back to keep them alive. But how much damage is being done by these Stalkers, blinking in to take care of some of the Infestors before they can get their damage done, and now just bringing in more and more Stalkers here. Sickness should be able to push through. These Infestors have now used up all of their energy, and some of them are very, very low on health as well, so I don't think this is going to go too well. One sneaky Infestor coming up and putting down a brilliant fungal on that big group of the Stalkers there. Sickness, meanwhile, back at base, chronoing out everything he can. We've got +2 to weapons on the way. It looks as if there is a secondary warp in inside the main. Brilliant use of that Warp Prism there, bringing in a few of those Stalkers, as well as a Zealot that's inside the mineral line, keeping some of the Stalkers alive as well. Attacking at the front, the Infestors doing their best to try and hold up this attack. They did put down a nice fungal on the front group of Stalkers there. Now dropping in these Stalkers just right on top of the Spine Crawlers there. That is just a little bit of perhaps a BM maneuver there from Sickness, but either way, he's distracted some of the units at the front long enough to get a lot of damage done. Infested Beach Balls now popping into the battle. We'll see if they are going to be able to make a difference. They should hold back some of these Stalkers just for the time being, especially considering these Infestors are starting to build up some of their energy yet again. This one's got enough for a fungal. These guys are getting close to it as well, so Sickness is going to have to be very, very careful here with what he does. He's now mined out in the main. That is all done. It was considering putting down a secondary robotics, but he's now getting out an Immortal. But wow, Contaminate used there by Realmaker. That is something you don't see every day. Contaminate being actually being used for once. That is something very, very rare. But it looks as if Sickness is deciding that he will try and keep the pressure on. I think the best maneuver for him at the moment would be to try and blink in the back. Realmaker not prepared for this just at the moment. There is an Overlord here that should be able to scout out that this attack is coming. there we go. The Overlord going down. The Stalkers will need to be very careful here, of course. If they blink in and the Infestors get a good fungal off, there is no way these Stalkers are getting out. There are a lot of Lings on the ground. I'm feeling that the problem for Realmaker at the moment, just looking at the worker count, is perhaps the fact that he only has 19 workers. So things looking very messy for him. The extended thermal lance on the way. We've also got a Colossus coming through. Third base going up for Sickness down at the bottom left-hand side. A little bit surprising to see it there, but perhaps he's well aware that the rocks will impede his progress of getting a third over here. The Overlord also dropping down some creep carpet there, which is going to be quite annoying to deal with. So Sickness in just a massive commanding position right now, given the worker count and the fact that he's about to get that really high tech out. And once those Colossi are out, it is pretty much all done, and there is no way that Realmaker is going to come back. Realmaker trying to squeeze out a few drones and a few more Infestors as well. I'm not sure what the plan is from him. Perhaps he's going to try and go for some sort of like a big Infestor attack. If some of these Stalkers are a bit low, like look at these guys over here, they're quite low. So if he can get some good fungals off, he may be able to clean up some of these Stalkers. The problem, as I said, that he's going to have is that Sickness just has this massive economy back home. He's got 49 probes. We've got around about 1,000 mineral income. That's about to increase shortly once these probes transfer down to the third as well. Extended thermal lance about to complete, and Sickness is going to be looking at very fine in just a moment. So a couple of cannons will help out in defending this third base. It looks as if the Zealots are going to have a little bit of a day off here at the top of the base. These Lings now coming through. A little bit of hold position action here for them. They're not going to really get too much done. Sickness is well aware that that was the case and pulls some of the workers back. Now trying to get some more damage done with those Lings, and he's not going to be able to get too much at all. So he's trying to get some harassment done. We'd love to see these Infestors running around. Here we go. We've got them in submarine mode. They're going to try and poke around. Interesting to note that that Realmaker actually has the Neural Parasite evolution going as well. So we could see a very interesting battle here if he can get the Infestors into good position to take over the Colossi, perhaps put down some fungals on the rest of the Stalkers as well. He could be in a really good spot. Now, here he comes. He's trying to get an attack going. Puts down a couple of fungals. If he can get some good, some initial fungals would be really nice here, just to really sort of whittle down that Protoss force. As we can see, some of these Stalkers are absolutely in dire straits right now. They are looking very, very uncomfortable. Look at this guy. He's got 2 health, and he's only now starting to regenerate his shield. So Realmaker doing his best with what he has. Of course, if you want to try and be really efficient, you want to try and use some of these energy-based units, because then they will be able to regenerate and come back. An Infested Terran attack going down here, but it looks as if Sickness, despite perhaps losing that third base, is not concerned at all. 3 Colossi are now moving up. A nice little fungal there from Realmaker. He is going to lose some of these Infestors though. Beautiful blink by the little group of Stalkers that were here. They're going to snipe down the rest of the Infestors, and despite a few more fungals and those Stalkers going down, it looks as if Sickness is going to be able to push through here. Where is the Warp Prism? We had that somewhere, but no, I think he lost it perhaps. But one Proxy Pylon is going to be able to provide support with some more reinforcing units. Spine Crawler going down, and this is going to be the end of Realmaker here. He has no way to contend with this. Trying to bring out 26 Lings, but of course Lings are not too favourable when there are 3 Colossi out, and there is a GG. So dtGSickness taking it 3-0 so far. We've still got a few more games to go, of course. This is a best of 9, so there's a little bit further to go. We'll find out what happens in game number 4 in just a minute. Stick around.